coming up on the Middle Class VO podcast.
So anytime every single person you run your brand past says, oh yeah, that's nice. That's a 4-letter word in branding,
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be a beige wall. Nobody hates a beige wall, but nobody's going to be like, oh, I must have that.
Well, if you need e-learning, we're just an email away. Corporate level, listen, tell us what to say. Explain the video, image and radio. Slang local cars, reading IBRs. No way, ain't no stars. No, we're the Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast.
Welcome to the Middle Class VO podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, she's the founder and owner of Celia Siegel Management and author of Voiceover Achiever. It's Celia Siegel. How are you?
Hi, I am great. How are you guys?
Doing great. We're all over the country now, so you're in Minnesota, right, Celia?
Yes, I'm enjoying a green spring in Minneapolis.
Very nice. And Bobby's in Cincinnati, and I'm here in the Nashville area. And today on the podcast, we're going to talk about branding and voiceover and the importance of it. Now, Celia, before you were in talent management, you were a top-level agent. How did you get involved in voiceover to begin with?
It's such a good question. I got a job right out of college working at a talent agency as a receptionist. And at that time, I had designs on becoming a film director, working on the film side of things. And I knew that I wanted some good experience before I moved to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So I took a job in the Midwest at a talent agency to just meet people. And on my first day at that job, I looked over it was the voiceover agents specifically. And I was like, just locked in. I was so fascinated. And I just kind of fast-tracked myself into voiceover agenting, decades ago now. And I have never looked back.
What made you leave as an agent to make that eventual change over to management?
Yeah, so I was an agent for 14 years. I worked at the Wayman Agency in Minneapolis. And Susan Wayman, the owner, just really was such a great mentor and taught me so well how to manage and agent talent. And then I was at CESD in Los Angeles. And then I snuck away to San Francisco to, get married, have some babies. I was like, I don't really want to raise my kiddos in LA. And I wasn't going to agent anymore, but the agents up there got wind that I was moving up there and I was well known at this point. So I interviewed with all the agents there and ended up working at JE Talent for a stint, so for a total of 14 years. And I just loved it so much. It was when I had kids. I was like, being an agent and doing it well, it's pretty 24/7 and a lot of, seeing theater at night, wining and dining clients. And so I just got this wild idea to just do all of my favorite things. And I always had an entrepreneurial drive and I just hung a shingle when my second baby was born. I was like, okay, here we go. And Celia Siegel Management was born. And I meant to just be a classic, voiceover talent management company and basically working on a micro level with actors on fulfilling their dreams, pushing their goals forward. And it became quickly apparent that I was just advising everybody to brand first. And that's how my management company really grew into my reputation as being, a branding person first. So that's kind of how I got started in things. And then as the years have gone by, we've grown all kinds of skills and now we're a really full service, branding and marketing agency. Sometimes we like to call ourselves an advertising agency for voice actors. And then I've got my Of course, everybody I work with, I know what they want, so we get really excited about helping them get what they want. And then, voila, that is how my talent management roster was born. The VO Chateau is mostly the people that I've started out branding, and they want to stick around and have us keep helping them grow their careers.
So you keep mentioning branding, and everybody that's in the industry kind of knows that that is one of your areas of expertise in helping brand voiceover talents. First of all, describe to us and all of our listeners, what is branding in voiceover and how important is it?
A penny for your thoughts.
So basically, your brand is already within you, so it's your reputation. It's what people think about you. It's what people see when you market to them. Bezos says it's what people say about you when you leave the room.
Good.
So yeah, because we're in the fortunate situation where you guys are actually your product, your brand is even more important. So it's your personal brand as an entrepreneur, and it's the brand of the product you're putting out there. So because it's already out there, I firmly believe that, why not take control of what that message is as the primary way to leverage your success. So that is my philosophy on things. I noticed it right away when I first started agenting people, that people who were, quote, well branded, either on purpose or not, did better by a pretty nice margin. So I call it a superpower to start out with. And I always tell people to brand before you build. If you can start thinking about, right away, how are you going to leverage this story about yourself to have better relationships, have people remember you, have your marketing not be cringy and work for you and actually capture new relationships that are going to pay you money over time. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on branding. And then I have a methodology that my team and I uses to extract that story from you. I see the world very much through a branding prism. As I'm moving around, I notice brands, I notice stories, I notice what makes things and people and places more awesome. And I get really focused on that. But I know most of you are probably focused on other things. So I came up with a methodology to just kind of pull out the words, the sentiments, where I can really see you. And then my writing team and I create a brand that when we're finished, it should really feel like we're holding a mirror up to you. So it's not stuff I'm making up about you. It's me reflecting you back to you in the most interesting way to those people that we want to hook in.
Yeah, I was surprised after Celia and her team came back with my branding. It's like, oh, I never thought about that. Like I come from a very large family, and I can't remember exactly what you had said, but it's like, oh, I never really looked at it that way. And you have the ability to pull those out just from talking to us, and I think that's pretty incredible.
Oh no, thanks. A friend of mine from Los Angeles was here over the weekend, and I met him in the very early 90s. He was doing a one-man show. I was his agent. I went and saw him, gave him some advice, helped sort of tweak his career. And it was so great. He said to me yesterday, he was like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but even when you were 22 years old, like you could always see us. And that really set the trajectory of all of the things that have helped me be successful in my, long career. And, not to like toot my own horn, like repeating a nice thing somebody said about me, but that's why it stays so interesting for me, is because you guys are all, infinitely interesting people, and I just love noticing, why you're different, than all the other, yogurt moms out there, Bobby. All the Clorox moms, you know?
Full disclosure, Bobby is a client of Celia's.
Yeah, that's true. One of my favorite brands that you did was Pants on Fire. What's her name? Lisa
Yeah, Lisa Graham,
Graham.
Pants
Oh,
on Fire VO.
that is awesome. It's her with hot pants on, right? And it's just from the back view, isn't it? Her actual picture.
You know, that's a really good question. Inquiring minds want to know if that's her real picture. But my team, when we did that brand, and, you know, we do a lot of different pathways, you know, like it could be we could hang on to this pathway and create something around this, or we could go this angle. And that was just one of the angles, and she picked it. And she considers it incredibly freeing as an artist that, you know, it gave her energy to be more herself. And my team was like, Celia, the butt, it's so big. Right in
Oh
the
my
middle
God.
of my screen. I was like, I know, you know, it's not for everyone, you know? So if you just think about enterprise level brands out there and what works and what you personally, you know, you guys and your audience, like, what do you pay attention to? And it's not the boring thing that isn't going to make anybody scratch their head. You know, like you have to be bold enough and genuine enough to really highlight, you know, pieces of you maybe that everybody in the world isn't going to say, oh my gosh, that is so great. Because guess what? That's just like the mushy middle of a brand. And it's the highlights that get noticed and hired. You know, so anytime every single person you run your brand past says, oh yeah, that's nice. That's a 4-letter word in branding, you know. You don't want to be a beige wall, you know. Nobody hates a beige wall, but nobody's going to be like, oh, I must have that paint color. So yes, that was a fun one. And yeah, my team finally got on board and we've had a lot of fun with that one.
Skip-it-a-ba-ba-ba.
How do you find the branding, Celia, you know, sets with those that hire us? You feel it's having a major impact? Do some brands have a bigger impact than others?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's, you know, two pieces to the brand. You know, one is how it makes you feel. So it gives you that extra confidence. You know, we're all always working on confidence, and you guys, you can hear it in your reads if you're not confident. So I think a real secret superpower of the brand is you feeling more like proud to spread the word, you know, so that's one half of it. And then equally important is that sweet spot. I draw a Venn diagram where it's like, you know, what you love, what they're noticing and love, you know, and how that intersects. Like your brand should make you feel awesome and capture attention, build credibility, be a backup to the way you sound to build trust. So yes, looking expensive, successful. We are advertising to advertising agencies and hip people. Trends change constantly, you know, so if you haven't touched your visual brand in 15 years, things looked different. It's going to make that vibe of you feel dated before they even push play. So I definitely have people notice talent's brands and book them, or you don't book the gig, you still have to win the gig.
Right.
But it makes that pool that you're competing against smaller if you win them over with your brand. I find also the way people are shopping for you guys is really different than it was, you know, back when everything ran through your talent agent. You know, is your agent going to care? Yeah, they might like your brand. They might, you know, respect you ever so slightly more or have a connection to it. But everything ran through them and nobody was looking at you guys as individual websites. And now so many people are finding you with your SEO enhanced, you know, keywords. And if they're looking for a certain type, If they want somebody from Nashville, who is from there so that they can localize the spot, they can find you from your website. So why not start competing there against the other guys they find?
So everybody, we're on these voiceover forums on social media, and they're saying, I need an agent. I need an agent. How do I get an agent? What are the best agents? So when and why should a talent get a manager as opposed to or in addition to an agent?
So I love the name of your podcast. I'll just start there. That whole idea of being middle class voiceover. I've done this long enough that, it used to be everything came through your agent, so your brand was less important. You would get on your roster, have that relationship. They would call you, bring you in. And things are so different now. So that idea of being a middle class voiceover was first introduced to me maybe in 2013 or 14 when I was lucky enough to get invited to FAFCon. Did you guys ever go to FAFCon?
No.
No, I'm aware though.
And I met all of these people. So at that point, I had already been a talent agent / manager for, long, long time. And I thought I knew, quote, everybody. And I met this whole new thriving population of talent who, and that word middle class voiceover did come up that weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are thriving and empowered and making this stuff happen on your own. And so that is a long lead into, when to get an agent, when to get a manager. The way you guys put together your portfolios of income now is so varied, and I know you talk about this on the show with different people. So you have your solo stuff you're doing, your pay to plays and your personal marketing and all of that money you're bringing in kind of, quote, on your own, that bootstrap, I'm going to make it happen. And then you've got your talent agent, and you guys all know how that works. And I would say when to get a manager is when you know you're in the right place, you're competitive, you have these other tracks started, and you just want some extra help. And I'm going to speak for Celia Siegel Management. I can't speak. I know there's, a handful of other voiceover talent managers.
You're the perfect person to speak on that, by the way.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for asking. So at my company, we're just all about moving the needle forward. So some people come to us when they have gotten so busy that they need a hand with a ton of stuff and they want a team, so think of successful businesses out there, CEOs have teams, so I, as a manager, love to speak with people about, okay, what do you have going on? Like, be real. What do you need help with? So it's a custom relationship. Of course, everybody wants more money. Everybody wants help with marketing, or not everybody, but most everybody. But what else do you need help with? So a manager can really help you, as a business strategist, as a coach, keeping you in the zone, keeping you confident, just quickly cutting away like anything that's dragging you down. And we just like to help our talent get in their zone of genius where they're actually making the money. And that's different for everybody. So I have a whiteboard in my office and I know what everybody wants, and I've got a really amazing team that I work with. And we talk about you guys all the time, and your goals and what you need. The goal everybody has is like, I want to be making this much money, and I like to break it down. How much is that a week? Great. You can do that, like as an entrepreneur with many income streams, like you can make that happen, but you just have to pay attention to it and probably delegate some stuff. So ready for a manager when you know you need help. Um, and then you have to be like the right kind of person, to get a yes from a manager. And I think that's a custom situation as well.
Skip it a ba ba ba.
And that's another a follow-up question. What level of talent will you work with? You said, somebody that's kind of in the trenches, somebody that's got some footing already, but do you ever have to turn down talent?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for me and the way I have my business model put together, it's not about, I don't have somebody say, hey, will you manage me? And I start salivating over, their, $500,000 that they're already bringing to the table. For me, and what keeps this interesting for me is people who are dead set on having satisfying businesses that fit with their values, that want to earn more money, align themselves with the kind of projects that they dream of, and want to keep getting better and want to collaborate. So it doesn't do any good to have a manager if you don't do the things they suggest that you do. So when I speak with somebody, I know right away if it's a good fit. I know if I can enhance somebody's business by working with them in this close way. But yeah, absolutely. We don't work with just anybody. I will talk to just anybody. I do a free 15-minute consultation, and I am, say what I see, and I'm honest about things. And, some people just aren't ready. It wouldn't be worth it for them yet. I mean, you have to be very well trained, very competitive, top of your game, hardworking. You have to have time in your life, to actually do this well. Or sometimes, if somebody comes to me and they're just like, we call them the show me the money talent.
I need that cash, yo.
Exactly.
Are you going to help me, Celia?
And I love to be like, okay, let's double our money. And we're going to do this. We're going to strategize this. That is exciting. But I have had people come to me just saying, I want to double my income. Here's what we're looking at. And they don't want to do anything fresh, or they don't want to put anything into it, time, money, effort, thought. And that, that's just boring to me, and it won't be successful. So I won't do that. So it's about innovation, and there's so much you guys can do to grow your businesses. So that's the fun zone.
A couple things that made you stand out among managers out there was your roster is smaller. And I also love that your team is young and creative and eager, and they've got their finger on the pulse of what's hot right now, especially social media, because Celia's team actually has different workshops throughout the month and Zoom sessions, and it's not just okay, we're gonna find you work. It's kind of building that business, and it's so current, and that's what's really cool.
Oh, thanks, Bobby. Yeah, we figure that's another key trait of all of our clients is they're lifelong learners. And they get that this is a ever evolving business. And so I'm so impressed with how hard you guys all work to keep getting better, to pay attention to trends, to figure out how to do your social media, even if you're afraid of it, because it's important for your brand. So yeah, and I do love, it's interesting. I was a very good talent agent by the time I was 23 years old. I had been doing it for 2 years. I bled for my clients. I really was right there with them. And I remember turning 25 and I was like, oh, thank God, everybody's going to know to take me seriously now. Now that I'm old. So I love, much as I was mentored as a young person, mentoring really bright talented young people. I have always done that my entire career, and nurturing them into being powerhouses in their own right. So yeah, I really scored. I have a really, really hardworking, really talented team. That it's been fun to grow with them.
That's Gab Worthy.
Celia, you can hear your passion for the voiceover industry, the love for what you do for a living. Is there anything that you would change about the voiceover industry as it stands right now?
You know, I am pretty high on the voiceover industry right now.
Good.
Um, there have been things like in the last 30 years where it's like, oh God, that's a bummer. Like, ooh, ouch, that just happened. But, you just have to take what life throws at you, personally, professionally, as an industry, and just keep pivoting. So it's those things that are annoying about our industry, like when the union first went south in the strike of 2000. That was a huge bummer. And we saw this work going to Canada and all this work going non-union, FICOR being strengthened. And there was this panic, like, what is going to happen to my talent whose livelihoods are coming from residuals? And, but we regrouped on that and regrouped again. And now, back to the name of your podcast, the Middle Class VO podcast, we're in this place where we can create our own destiny, and we have to be really careful. I mean, I would change scammers, bottom feeders.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate when actors get ripped off and give money to people to help them make money who don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I think most of that, I'm going to just choose to think it's not malicious. It's just lack of knowledge, some people teaching some things. But that's a bummer. I hate to see that when people like spend all this money going down the wrong road.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say to your listeners, vet the people you choose to pay. There's a lot of really fantastic, amazing people in our industry who are there to help you grow your business. And then there's, people whose information really isn't very fresh, that it's going to maybe even hurt your business. So yeah, I don't like that. I mean, the pay to plays are rough. But the way I coach the people I work with, it's like, okay, they're there to stay. And I know people making, nice hefty six figures on them. How did they do that? Let's do that. So that makes you not beholden to one gatekeeper or one relationship. Like that really does make the world your oyster. And you can market to anybody in the world. We've got access. So it really is this sort of golden age of access. And the flip side of that is it's so competitive. But I'm like, so brand, make yourself look more awesome. Do demos with the most talented demo maker. Study with the greatest people. If there's anything that's holding you back in your career, if your recording studio could be 1% better, well, by golly, make it 1% better.
Yeah.
So all of the bad stuff, there's the flip side of it, of you can be in the top 10% by just laddering over these issues and, just tweaking just a teeny little bit. And then all of a sudden you're on the short list.
So where do you see the voiceover industry in 5 or 10 years? I mean, just look at the past couple of years with diversity finally, getting a fair shake. Yeah. And with so many people just going in their closet with a microphone as opposed to, 4 or 5 years ago. What do you look into your crystal ball? Tell us if you see any changes.
My VO tarot card. So yeah, I was talking to my friend from LA yesterday about voiceover and, all of these changes, like it's been incredible. Like I feel like it was 10 years of changes, if not 20. in the past 2.5 years, two and a
Yeah.
quarter years. Like it's been amazing. And look at all the gifts and amazingness and, all the film stars and the theatrical actors and the, Broadway people, coming to our business. So I see in 5 years, things are going to be, they're normalizing. I think there's more voice work than ever. I think we're going to have more control over how to get our work. I think that the table has gotten a lot bigger. There's really room for everyone at the table, like all different kinds of diversity. And, so I think those who stay on top of the trends and keep getting better at their craft are going to have really beautiful voiceover careers over the next 5 years. I feel like we're in a really sweet spot to work hard, make that money we want to make, invest it well, because it's not going to last forever. 10 years out, I do worry about AI, for all kinds of reasons. I'm working hard to try to stay on the sunny side of AI and, how do you get AI to work for you? How do you, have your vocal dub work in tandem with you and you get part of the money, So again, there's goodness potential there, but I do think it's going to take big swaths of, the middle class VO work, reading the paper and reading manuals and doing tags. That work is going to get pulled off the table, I think. But there will still be a lot of it that needs a human heart behind it. So, technology. And then the other thing that is, we see it happening is the, usage online is what television used to be as far as attention goes, so I'm real curious to see how all of that shakes out as far as payment, how you guys get paid. I'm hoping that we as a community can keep the dialogue open about rates and what a professional rate looks like, and toe the line there. So those are my fears. AI, plummeting rates, everybody talking to each other and, providing really great value. So when you sell your voice to a company for a fair rate, they are happy.
But let's leave it on the positive side, though, where you talked about there's enough room for everybody at the table, and the VO world is in a really good place right now. Celia, thanks so much for your time. And how can folks reach out to you if they have questions regarding management representation?
Yeah, absolutely. Or branding. I start with the brand. So that would be the original conversation. And I have a website, CeliaSiegel.com. Our management site is vochateau.com if you want to check out what we've got going on over there. But yeah, you can just shoot me an email. There's a contact form on there. We do something called the Brand Mingle every Friday morning at 10 Central, where we just get together for one quick cup of coffee, 30 minutes, and you can just bring your questions. We love to see new faces, and that's a great way to just, catch us live and in person.
Excellent.
So yes, thank you so much for having me. You guys have a great podcast here. It was fun to listen to a bunch of them, and I'm really honored that you invited me.
Well, great to have you. Thanks, Celia.
Celia, thank you so much. And we'll see you again soon. The last couple of times I've seen you, it's been under social conditions, and we were having a great time.
Right? Yes, bring it back.
Let's bring it back. That's right. Celia Siegel from Celia Siegel Management, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Oh, well, the Middle Class VO podcast. Middle Class VO